Hi everyone, in this video we would like to introduce some new features which deal with the analysis of tacks and gybes. So here's a typical windward-leeward day. We've identified and validated some of the tacks and gybes. Now the first novelty is in the reporting on those tacks and gybes in terms of performance. So if we go to those tack gybes reports, we are now given some options on which variables we would like to see, what we use as units of distance, also how do we compute which distance lost would we like to see, the ones in terms of wind or boat speed heading or GPS. And then once you select the variables, for each of the variables you can also specify whether you want to see just the average before and after. Possibly for boat speed we will be interested in seeing the minimum boat speed during. And then I've got this dot heading, which is a calculated variable as a derivative of the heading. So it's effectively giving me a yaw rate or a turn rate. If you have a turn rate variable in your log, it's even better. But for this one, we created a calculated variable, and I just want to see the maximum during the turn, and obviously taking the absolute value, because depending on if we're going from starboard to port or the reverse, that might change things. And then we're also defining here what is the during period, and we'll define it as 15 seconds before and after the change of sign of true and angle. So let's try that and see what it comes with. And here is our Excel report with all the data that we've asked with, distance lost here, maximum turn rate, boat speed before, after, and the minimum during maneuver, everything we've asked for. On top of that, we also get those tacking angles as, which are the same numbers that we get into the properties of a tack and gybe. Now, if you want to go a little bit more in depth, there is now a complete new feature, which is called tacking and gybing analysis. So that's going to be in the graph section. And we go to tack gybe analysis, and let's look at tacks for now. So we get this window where we can see the track of all the different tacks that we have validated for calibration and performance. They're all overlaid. Obviously, we've chose for the moment to show both port to starboard and starboard to port. So all the port to starboard have been inverted so that we can overlay them correctly. Now, the way you select the tacks is through this button. And we can hide, we can want to see the invalid or not. And also you can select which you think is the best and worst tack, or you can have multiple of those. So in this instance, we might look at the numbers of the distance lost and say that this first one was actually very good, and this last one was really not quite as good. So we're now presented with an orange line for the good tack and a blue line for the bad tack. Also note that whenever you select here, and you can multi-select, you get those highlighted so you know which ones you are talking about. You can also scroll through them. And then another thing that you can do is you can specify how much time before and after. So let's maybe keep it to 20 seconds in this case. We can add some graphs. We can have up to 8 graphs. And so in our case, we are going to, by right-clicking here, we are going to add this dot heading, which is our yaw rate. And as you can see, because of the port and the starboard turning in different directions, we get them inverted. So if I do want to overlay them, I can also right-click and say Sign Tack, and that's going to put them in the right way. You can obviously save and load presets, as in all the rest of the features in RaceReplay, and copy this to clipboard to add to a report.